Hi everyone, welcome to another video on Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. Now today's video is going to be about the Extreme 1 stage of Formidable Foe against Kyoto School. And I'm going to show you guys how to 3-star career and kind of fulfill all of those criteria. Now the difficulty of this stage kind of depends on whether you happen to have Yuji Itadori or Megumi leveled up on your team, because that is one of the 3-star criteria. But don't worry about it if you don't happen to have them, because that is what today's video is all about, because I'll be showing you guys how to actually beat the stage with just the R rarity of those two characters, and also none of them actually leveled up. Now between the two of them, obviously you can have one as your backup, so he will never be played, so you don't have to worry about him at all. But then one would need to be in your team, and the person you want to be on your team is gonna be Megumi instead of Yuji. And the reason why is because he actually provides a bit of a utility in the form of stunning an enemy. It's 100% stun as well, so which is not bad. So you definitely want to play him in your team, especially because your character would not be at very high level. So therefore, if he take one hit from the enemy, he will be gone, and then you kind of lost your 3-star criteria, 3-star clearance. And that's kind of why having that ability to stun kind of buys you a bit of extra protection, because that's like one less attack from the enemy, etc. So that's kind of why it's still useful. Now, do you actually have to level him up just so that he can actually tank a bit of hit? I don't really think so, because I was thinking in the whole battle, enemy probably only made 3 or 4 attacks. So obviously there's a bit of RNG that you have to make sure none of those 3 or 4 attacks actually go on Megumi. But you can always just retreat and try again. And because there's only like 3 or 4 attacks, I'm sure you will be able to get into like a situation where your Megumi doesn't get attacked and get killed off. Okay, so in terms of team, basically what the strategy behind this is, you want to go for an ult on your Gojo as soon as possible, and that's because the enemy have basically 3 enemies, 3 bosses. So there's Kamo, there's Momo, and also there is Gojo. And because there's 3 bosses, if you try to use like a single target attack to kill them or break them, it's going to take you forever. And normally, because they will have like so many attacks going on, one of your character will be killed off. So that's kind of why you want to ult as soon as possible. And basically, this strategy is about how to be able to use your ultimate attack on turn 4. Now, for reference, the skill levels on my characters is on my Yaga, I have his buffing skill, so that's skill 2 at level 7. For Toge, his skill is at level 5. For Megumi, he is not leveled up at all, obviously. And for Gojo, both his buffing skill and also his ultimate skill are level 7. Now, you can probably beat this earlier, because I think I finished the whole battle in 5 turns, I want to say. So you can probably do it a bit earlier and doesn't have to be as high level as what I've done. The only thing you may want to double check when you actually try it is the level on Toge's skill 2, because basically what you need to do is use his skill 2 twice in the first 3 turns in order to charge up Gojo's ultimate attack. And I'm not sure what's kind of like the minimum level it needs to be, because every single time when you level up that skill, it gives a bit of extra bit of ultimate energy. So you just probably need to make sure that whatever level you have set at Toge is actually enough, so that Gojo is able to be ready to ultimate on turn 4. So that's probably the only thing you want to make sure of in terms of the skills. Now, the other thing, which is like very important, is that Toga needs to have at least plus 10 curse energy at the start of battle. And that's because, once again, his skill 2 takes 30 curse energy every single time, and you need to do this twice in 3 turns. So unless you have that plus 10 curse energy, otherwise you wouldn't have enough energy to pull that off. So that's kind of why you need at least plus 10 curse energy at Toga at the start of the battle. And this can be done either via 2 dupes on him, or equip and recollection, which give plus 10 curse energy. Now there are a few which is able to do that. For example, this one which does. You can just take a look in your backpack, and you may have like a different version of SR recollection, which can also give a plus 10 curse energy. Now, okay, so in terms of other recollection, try to equip as many like damage buffing recollection as possible on your other characters so that you can increase the damage output on Gojo's ultimate as much as possible. As for the recollection on Gojo's own attack, any DPS recollection is gonna work. It doesn't have to be pride, even though this is very, very good. Recollection on Gojo is not specifically needed for this stage. Any other one would work, especially because you're trying to nuke on his ultimate attack. So as long as your DPS recollection can be activated on ultimate attack, you'll be fine there. Okay, that's about it in terms of the setup, I believe. So now let's go into battle, and and I will show you turn by turn how exactly that plays out. Okay, so like I mentioned, you'll be facing up against three bosses. Now they all have different attacks. Luckily enough, a lot of them are actually buffed, and that's kind of why you don't have to like tank too many attacks in this battle. However, because sometimes they are buffs, you kind of need to know the attack order of which attack is going to attack and which attack is actually going to be a buff. So that's kind of why you probably do have to follow my attacking target very closely as I demo him. Now, basically what you want to do is, like I said, because Megumi have the ability to stun, you want to make sure that you're able to stun the enemy, at least two different enemies, so that you don't have that reduced stun resistance, that kind of thing, by stunning like twice in a row. So you want to spread out your stun target. Now, the first person you want to stun is going to be enemy Momo, and that's because if you don't stun Momo, then what's going to happen on turn 3 is Momo is going to do an AoE attack, which can have the potential to stun you, and that's going to be very, very annoying. So you definitely want to prevent that from happening, so you need to interrupt one of her turns, and you have to do this on turn 1, because every single time when Momo uses her buff, she also gives herself a dodge, so basically she'll be immune to attacks for that duration, for that turn. So that's kind of why if you don't stun her now, you won't have that ability to stun her again. So that's kind of why the first stun have to land on Momo. For Yaga, obviously use the buff to increase everyone's attack. Wait, actually no. For Yaga, because sorry, let me just double check. Yeah, sorry. Yaga will be using skill 1 on turn 1, and that's because Yaga, because now I don't have like a battery such as Kaido to give everyone curse energy, and I didn't equip a recollection that gives him an extra plus 10 curse energy, and also, you know, my Yaga is not duped to have that extra plus 10 curse energy. That basically means I won't be able to use Yaga to buff every single turn. So now, those kind of scenarios, it's actually better for you to do a normal attack on the first turn so that you can then start stacking buff continuously afterwards when Gojo's just about to use his ult. So that's kind of why on turn 1, what you actually want to do is you want to do a normal attack. So remember that. For Toge, you want to use skill 2 to increase everyone's ultimate energy. And for Megumi, like I said, you want to stun, and that stun have to land on enemy Momo. For Gojo, you can do physical attack. The reason why I do a physical attack is because I want to activate my pride. If you are not using pride recollection, you can use a special or curse technique attack instead of physical attack. And you want to do this is the reason why you want to do that is because on turn 2 and turn 3, your Gojo would need to buff so that when he actually uses his ult on turn 4, it'll be benefited from 2 buffs from the previous turns. Now, because the buff on Gojo, the buff he used on himself, only lasts for 3 turns. So no matter what you do on turn 1, like even if you buff yourself on turn 1 on Gojo, that buff would have expired by the time you use your ultimate attack. So that's kind of why on turn 1 you can do a a single target attack on one of the enemy just for a bit of chip damage. And Todo is normally the one you want to do chip damage on, purely because he's the bulkiest out of all of them. Now, if you do actually play this and find out that you do not have enough damage output to maybe like kill off one of the other enemies, then maybe switch your chip damage to one of the other enemy that you're not able to kill off. But if you're able to kill off the other two with your ult, then go for chip damage on Todo instead. Okay, now for the second turn, Yaga can start buffing now. Toge will be increasing everyone's ultimate energy, etc. Megumi would just be doing normal attacks for his cut energy to be go back up to 30, so he can stun again on the third turn. And like I said, Gojo will be buffing himself. Now on the third turn, basically what you want to do is you want to stun Camel, as you can see here. I stunned there. Let me try to stop at the right moment. Yep, so I stunned Camel here. And it's very important that you stun Camel on third turn because otherwise he will be doing an AoE attack. So if he do an AoE attack, Megumi will be out instantly because he's on the level. So that's kind of why it was very important for you to do a normal attack that doesn't waste curse energy on turn 2, and then on turn 3 aim for that stun on Camel. And remember, his stun is 100% base rate, so you should be able to stun them. Okay, and now it's the fourth turn. You can see my Gojo is now charged up and he already have lots of buffs stacked on him. I'll be using any Reclaration which can increase that damage output even further, and this is now when I do that massive nuke on my Gojo's ultimate, and that should be able to wipe out Kamo and also Momo, leaving behind only Todo, which you would obviously try to finish off with your single target attack, etc. Now if you are having trouble to kill off the other enemies, etc., what you can potentially do is try to go for a second ult on Gojo by using kind of increasing ultimate energy gauge from Toge, etc. But play around. I'm not sure whether it's feasible or not.